We're going to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. Disruption Joe is an expert in the field. A lot of people, if you're like me, and every morning, I swear to God, every morning someone has an update on the value of Bitcoin. And if you're like me and heavily annoyed and just wish as people would talk about anything else except Bitcoin, we're going to learn a little bit today because I don't know shit about Bitcoin. Sam and I were joking last night with a friend about cryptocurrency. I was joking more than they were about the why is there Bitcoin machines at 7-Eleven and the was a pantry hen or hen pantry, and like the cryptocurrency or Bitcoins are going for $60,000. Like, how does that make sense? So we're gonna get.
I'm excited because I know that you are starting from zero knowledge here, and there is nobody in the city of Chicago that I know better to introduce somebody to Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, the whole joint, than Disruption Joe. So hopefully you can get the laptop situated. We can get started here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us where you're starting off, Gabe. Like, give us what you understand, what you've got a firm grasp of.
My firm grasp is it's nothing. It's not even worth mentioning. So having Disruption Joe join me, I'm gonna keep it 1,000%. I don't know and I don't understand. So Joe is gonna make me understand and put me on some game because I am out here living life without knowing, and that's scary. How are you, sir? We appreciate you joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's.
Yeah, we'll put a little Bitcoin B on your shirt next time. I'll send you one of these. Get you excited, make you walk in advertisement.
Listen, if it's gonna make me a little bit more wealthier, I will wear the shirt, the sweatshirt, the hoodie. I'll wear the wristbands, the headbands, whatever you send, I will wear it.
Well, if my playoff beard made the Blackhawks win 3 times, then yes, sending you the shirt's going to make you wealthy.
That's what got them the chip. The beard, right.
That's a well-known fact. That's actually a well-known fact.
Yeah, people talk about that.
Exactly. Well, thanks for joining us here on Weekend at Games on this Friday night. We appreciate it. I was joking with Sam. I don't know if you heard that every morning I turn on my my timeline on Twitter. It's Bitcoin. It's going up. Everyone's excited. When it starts to plateau, everyone gets sad. It's just a roller coaster of emotions. But for someone like myself who doesn't own Bitcoin, doesn't get into cryptocurrency, doesn't have any investment, doesn't know anything about anything, where does one begin to understand how this digital currency begins to work and how it affects our day-to-day?
Yeah, the first thing I tell most people is just buy some, like put some skin in the game and learn. And I'm not saying go put your life savings in there. Because like, take out a mortgage.
Easy enough. Okay, continue.
No, but you hear stuff. If you go online and look at YouTube, you get these like financial advisor types that advise a bunch of wealthy people, and they're like, put 1% of your portfolio. And if I'm talking to just people around the city, they're like 1% of my portfolio. That's like $12, man. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to get rich doing that. So it's like, okay, when you got some extra money, some extra cash, and you're thinking, am I going to put this in the stonks or am I going to just hold this or not? You got a few options, right? You can keep it in cash, you can buy some shit, or you can invest it in stocks. You could invest it in bonds, but if you only got $12, you're probably not too up on the bonds. And I'd save you a lot of time. It's stupid. Don't do it. But what we actually have here is that things are relatively priced. Like if there's, let's say there were $1 million in the world and we printed twice that, everything you bought would cost twice as much. Like the value of the things that you do, the services you trade, the items you trade, the sentimental feelings you get that you pay for, the concerts you go to, everything that you buy has a relative value to the input of the work you put in to earn that. You know, it was earning the money you earned was worth the time you put in, and you'll only participate if it's worth it. So what's been happening in the U.S., you can look up a chart. The Fed M2 money supply is the one you want to see. And this thing goes, holy shit. If this was a business and that was your returns, it'd be great. But what it really is the number of dollars in circulation in the world. And this thing just went up hockey stick like. Okay, we have printed in the last 3 months 40% of all the money that's ever existed, US dollars. Right. Okay, and they're saying that there's not inflation, but that's because what happens is there's deflationary pressures from technology, like better ways to manufacture things. So other than that one fiasco with the toilet paper, pretty much shit that we use every day, flat screen TVs, computers, stuff like that, gets cheaper. But the shit people want, the shit that people invest in, which is stonks, real estate, education to better your life, does that not have inflation? How much has education gone up? Right now they're charging you $50,000 to sit in a Zoom class with my dumbass talking to you. How is that a legitimate thing that's going on?
Right.
So it is the hedge of the bets is basically what you're getting at. We've printed this massive amount of money. So I think the easiest way to relate this to people, and I don't know if you've seen what happened in Venezuela on the news, Gabe, but get into some of that, Joe, and essentially why that economy collapsed and what Bitcoin hedges against as far as that.
Yeah, there's a thing. A lot of people talk about inflation. There's price inflation and there's monetary inflation. Prices are the prices going up. Monetary inflation is, are we printing more money? And we're not talking like somebody goes to the printer and cranks out some fucking money. You see the little burr memes and they're like, hey, yeah, just keep printing that money because you print twice as much. Bitcoin goes up, it doubles, right? So do your stocks. But the idea behind the Venezuela thing is that you have certain forces in the government that have control of the money. Money is a monopoly. Back in the day, if we want to go fucking caveman, people are trading rocks to each other and they're like, okay, that's a nice rock, I'll take it. You go to prison, it's cigarettes. If you go to barter economies, people are trading chickens for corn. But all of a sudden they get into this thing. They're like, well, you make chairs and I got 4 chickens. You want 1 chicken. I can't cut this chair in 4 pieces because a chair don't work really well in 4 pieces. Right. And this is called the coincidence of wants. It's an economic term. So sometimes you don't have what you want. So instead you say, let's come up with a medium of exchange, some small unit that we can assign and say, we're going to denominate everything in this. We're going to say it's worth X number of dollars, right? And if this is basically like a ledger, we all know how much our chickens or what it's worth to us. Then we can go trade that. It solves the coincidence of wants. Now, governments took that over. It wasn't always like this. For the first 100 years in the U.S., what would happen is you would take your gold, which is one of the best characteristics of saving currency. It's a store of the value, but it's hard to bring it around. It's not, you can't send gold through the internet, so it has some problems. Right, especially today. But what you do, you'd bring it to the bank and they would give you a promissory note because all the people in that town trusted that. So the money, the bills were all locally generated and it was decentralized. The government didn't control it. But as soon as the government controlled it, this happened in 1913, and an actual 13 of the richest people convened a Congress at midnight when Congress was out of session on an island. This isn't even a joke, and said, we're going to have a private entity now control the entire money supply for the country, and we're going to lend to all the banks, and we're the only dollars that count, and legally that's going to be it. It got pushed through Congress. And then we conveniently 15 years after they inflated the price of everything by printing a bunch of money, that bubble had to come back down, and we have the Great Depression. And they say, all right, well, now it's illegal to own gold. Because you can't have the thing that makes it relative, right? You can't have that base thing that shows you, because the price of stuff wasn't going up. The price of the gold was staying flat. The cost of dollars was going down. Right? Stocks aren't going up right now like crazy. Why would they be going up? Nobody's selling more shit. The price of the dollar is going down. That's what's been happening in the last 50 years. So in 1971, we actually took it off. We said you couldn't hold gold personally, but you could always get your gold if you wanted to, technically. But 71, we take it off. So we say now it's not even a dollar, like has like some gold in a reserve. Now it's just a magic number that the government controls. And since 71, we've been getting more and more inequality. That's because every time there's an economic crisis, the politicians have to save them. Doesn't matter right or left. People expect to be saved. And so we print some more money. And there's a thing called the Cantillon effect, which is basically says whoever's closest to the dude printing the money is going to end up with the most money. Who's closest? All the fucking banks. There's 12 banks they're allowed to give it to. And then those people go and give credit to other people. That's how they create it. They're not printing it. They're just allowing credit to people. So who's got the best credit? Corporations and billionaires. They get to buy back their stocks and push up the value of the stock they own. Only 40% of the U.S. even owns stocks. So where do you think this income inequality is coming from? They're crushing the unit that we use to measure our value, but they don't hold that. They play the asset game. So the idea behind Bitcoin is that instead of some dude like this government entity that has forces acting upon it, and it's just trying to be good to its people. It's not necessarily evil. It's a situational system thing. But if your cash is going digital, who can turn it off? Right? Can the government turn it off? They turned off poker players' money online, so that's something to worry about. And then people got fed up with it. They said in the Bitcoin blockchain, in the first second line of code, in the actual code that's written, it says the chancellor is on the second brink of the bailout of the banks. Somebody built this so that governments couldn't just print out money and bail out these fucking rich people and save all of their pensions when everybody else's cash is getting devalued all through this. That's what Bitcoin does. It creates a monetary policy that there's 21 million Bitcoin ever. And the only way to change that would be to convince 90% of 10,000 miners around the world in different jurisdictions with different religious beliefs, different personal beliefs. Some are fat, some are skinny, some are women, some are tall, some are probably more out of this world than in this world. And you'd have to convince 90% of them to vote the same way as you. Not only vote, but act on it by running the new code with this new change. And once 90% of them are running it, then that rule of 21 million could change. And that's the only way.
So Gabe's major question here, and if that information from Joe seemed like a lot, it's because it is, but it's all very important. He explains that to me 5 times in a year, and I get 5% more of it each time. So if you feel a little lost, don't worry. But the main question on Gabe's mind is, what is the deal with these Bitcoin ATMs? How do they work? Why would I ever want to use that?
Wait, hang on. Before we get to that, Sam, that is a very important question, but I don't think it's the most important question.
Okay, word.
So you were mentioning, Joe, about, there's a bunch of people online who are doing these videos. And of course, it's probably not smart to fucking watch a video of someone you don't know and invest into things you don't know about. So where does one begin their journey to investing? Even if you buy a piece of a Bitcoin, how do you just get started and do it responsibly so you're not like fucking someone just like selling you a junker when they're telling you that it's going to be a Mercedes one day? So how do you protect yourself?
Yeah, my recommendation is, you got $100 that you're going to invest, go ahead. drop it on the Bitcoin, because the motivation to learn is going to come when you look at your wallet one day and it's down 20% and then it's up 40% the next day. And you're looking at like, holy shit. Like I put $100 in here. I'll tell you what, my parents, finally, I convinced them after like 5 years in the industry to take Bitcoin for rent. So this summer I moved out of Chicago. I moved in my parents' condo and fixed it up. And I was like, I will pay you $500 a month in Bitcoin, and like I'll hold the wallet and manage it all for you. So June 1st was the first payment of $500 every month, paying $500. So far, they made $20,000. Right, their Bitcoin's worth $20,000, and there's a few months where it looked like it was down a little bit, but for the most part, it was going up, up, up. There was volatility, but it was going up. So to me, you have to have a time horizon on anything that you invest in, right? So most people are going to say, oh, wow, I see it going up and down. If I could sell at the bottom and so forth. Like the people who are making that volatility are smarter than you. If you're sitting at a poker table and you don't know who the mark is, it's you. You're the mark. So
is there like a Bitcoin store? Like where do you go to do this?
Yeah, my recommendation is going to Coinbase. It's simple. It's a U.S. company. It's federally insured, just the way that bank accounts are insured to $250,000 if something happens, and it's easy. It's simple. Like you'll hear a lot from like the people who are like the very technical people that think that there's a greater chance that society will completely collapse and fail, and we'll be in this post-apocalyptic Fortnite state. And so you need to hold your own keys. They think there's a better chance of that than you just losing your fucking password. Right? Like, I think there's a better chance you'll fuck up, lose your password or whatever, and it'd be nice to have this company right there. Now, I do keep some on my own, like, devices because I do think that we might end up in this weird Fortnite thing. But do I think the odds are great? Do I think that's a great way to learn? Do you think you need it to start? No, that's not the primary thing. It's just cool to be able to, like, own your own wealth, like own your own future, right? And know that you have it in your hands, and nobody could stop or not give it back. There is a chance on Coinbase that like they make Bitcoin illegal or something, and then like Coinbase won't send it back to you or something. It's very small chance. Somebody's thinking that they're IPOing right now. Like chances of it being illegal are pretty slim, but I like to hold it. Just, I got a little bit of that grandma stick my shit under the mattress thing.
All right. And if you can, in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, explain to me, how does a ATM Bitcoin work into my day-to-day? So I've gone to this website. Okay. So then why is it there then? Why is it there? Why do I need it?
I actually just had a call from a friend who's like looking to invest in a Bitcoin ATM company. They don't make sense. Like, go to Coinbase, you can get the shit put directly into your bank account in like minutes. Now, there are like some percentage of people who are underbanked or not banked at all. And people say, oh, maybe they would go there. But why would they pay these exorbitant, crazy fees? Like, they can even hook up like a prepaid card now. Like, they don't need that shit. Why are they going to get in their car? Or they probably don't have a car. They're going to get on their scooter, go down to the 7-Eleven, get some Bitcoin, pay 30% to be able to pay for like the fucking owner of the ATM's Lamborghini. Like, no, they're not going to do that. Like, some people do. And if you don't want it to go through the channels, like, you have this back channel available. But the one place in Bitcoin where I think there is more crime in Bitcoin and money laundering would be the ATMs, which account for like less than a percentage of it. Like there's not a lot of action going through the ATMs. It's stupid. Maybe it's good marketing, but there isn't a Bitcoin company that runs it. But to to give you a real place to look, I actually set up my personal website. Like, I took all my consulting work off it with the gig I'm doing now. Like, hey, I want to look like I'm out there trying to get other jobs and stuff, you know? So I just made it a thing for friends and family since we're in the bull market. No sponsors, it's just straight up lists of my favorite websites to go to, about 5 of them, and 10 videos that I tell family, like, you want to ask me about Bitcoin? We'll talk after you watch these 10 videos. Okay.
Those are the ones that are currently up, right?
Yep. It's disruptionjoe.com.
All right. I started watching the first one with the guy with the Greek name, Andreas.
Yeah. Andreas is great. There's some links to places to buy, to Andreas' website, some things about keeping yourself secure, how to keep your Bitcoin secure. And some of these are like, you know, people think that it's like a criminal thing. The second video is from Katie Hahn, who was the prosecutor of Silk Road. And she said, well, we caught the people because it was an open, transparent thing. We wish every criminal used Bitcoin.
There was a great, we got to wrap, but there's a great video on Hulu at the New York Times about the guy who hacked Twitter, the kid who hacked Twitter, but then he was hacking accounts of people who had Bitcoin, and then he would somehow steal their accounts, steal the money out of their accounts. It's fucking crazy, but this teenager was doing that in Florida. But anyway,
that's because if anybody says, send me 1 Bitcoin and I'll send you 10 back, that's stupid. Remember, if you hold it, you own it. That's like me being like, give me $1, I'll give you 20 back. All right, now I got your $1. Like, haven't you ever been in the hood? Like, come on, man. Like, don't just give people shit.
That's not how it works at all.
Nothing works like that. Nothing.
What does work is Disruption Joe's website that has all the information. Go check it out. I will watch the videos, and we will have you back, and I will have more questions before
we're gonna make this a recurring segment. I'm just gonna call you if there's any developments. You know,
I will open up an account, put a few bucks in, and hopefully next month I'll be rich. And
dude, just stay in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, don't spread your wings too fast. All right.
Don't Dogecoin too early. Is that
no? Doge is literally a joke.
Don't too close to the
was
sun.
made. It was literally a joke when it was made, and
here we are. Right.
Well, Joe, I appreciate you dropping in with us. Great conversation. I learned a lot. Like Sam said, about 5% of it is retained. So I'll probably have to watch it again, which is great. So we live in the future, so it's all good. Joe, enjoy the rest of your evening. I don't know if there's going to be playoff hockey this year, but you look great in your playoff beard regardless.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right. Disruption Joe joining us, talking about cryptocurrency, which now my life is even that much more complicated.